A midlife crisis is more than just a cultural stereotype. It's a real psychological struggle that can surface between the ages of 40 and 60. Often triggered by aging, loss, or unmet expectations, it can actually lead individuals to question their identity, make impulsive choices, or abruptly abandon long term commitments. While not officially classified yet as a mental illness, the emotional and relational fallout is very real, especially for the spouses and families left behind. This podcast gives voice to those living through the aftermath, exposing the hidden pain, and seeking accountability, healing, and understanding. Thank you for joining us today on MLC Bomb Drop and Beyond. The stories and events discussed in this podcast are for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered legal, medical, or professional advice. Any names, locations, or identifying details have been changed to protect privacy. Any similarities to actual persons, living or dead, or real events are purely coincidental. The information presented on this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional advice. Always consult with a qualified expert regarding any decisions related to your specific situation. The views expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the podcast creators. Hey guys, thanks for joining me today on Bomb Drop. This is Trina Laird, and recently I had a dream. I don't have dreams often, and this was really crazy that I had a dream. So I had a dream that my precious little white golden retriever ran away when we were out. She wears a GPS collar, so I could see I could see in my dream, I could see that she was in someone's car and they were driving around with her. And I wanted to know what the meaning of that dream was. I woke up, I was freaked out. She was right there beside me asleep. But man, just to think that she was kidnapped or not with me was a really scary feeling. So I went to a dream analysis and to see what that was. And crazily enough, it has to do with MLC. And I'm like, no, am I ever going to get rid of this? So I'm going to read to you what it said. Dreams about a beloved pet running away, especially with the twist of someone else taking them, often taps into deeper feelings, loss of control, vulnerability, or fear of being separated from something or someone that you deeply value. And it said in this, here are some possible interpretations based on my dream's elements. The dog. It says pets in dreams often symbolize loyalty, companionship, unconditional love, and a part of your emotional self that feels safe and trusting. Your dog could also represent a relationship or emotional bond that you feel protective of. Well, that's for sure. The escape. A dog running away might reflect anxiety about losing control or fear that a source of joy or support might slip away unexpectedly. It can also symbolize a worry that something in your life could change suddenly, even if you've taken precautions. The GPS collar. The fact that you could still see where she was suggests that you feel you have some ability to track or stay connected to what's important, yet you're still powerless to stop the loss in the moment. And this could reflect real life situations where you see something happening, maybe even you could predict it, but you can't fully prevent it. And it says where there was someone driving with her. Strangers taking your dog might symbolize the fear of someone else having control over something precious to you. This could be about a person, a project, relationship, or even an aspect of your own identity that feels like it could be taken or influenced by others. The emotional takeaway was your dream sounds like a reflection of anxiety about losing what you cherish, combined with a sense of powerlessness even when you have awareness. Sometimes these dreams are triggered by changes or instability in relationships, recent events where you felt you couldn't protect something important, underlying fear of betrayal, loss, or being replaced. So then I asked, maybe it was when my husband left for another woman. I couldn't see it happening, and he was in MLC and succumbed to that loss of mind. And of course, the dream interpreter said, yes, that makes perfect sense. Your dream maps almost perfectly onto that experience. The dog symbolized my marriage, my husband, the loyal bond that we had built over 27 years. And like my dog, this was something that I loved, cared for, and trusted to stay by my side forever. Yeah. Uh, that's a no-brainer. The GPS collar, it, symbolizes my awareness of what was happening. It's like I saw the signs and I knew the affair was happening and, I could track the reality of it, but the awareness did not stop the loss no matter what, no matter how much I tried, almost like, trying to exercise him into, waking up and realizing that this was destroying his life, but it still didn't make a difference. The stranger's car represents the other woman and the midlife crisis itself because someone else was literally driving him and taking him on a path that I couldn't control. And by me watching it, it's that powerless position of witnessing the unraveling, unable to stop him from leaving, even though the bond should have been enough to keep him safe. It says the emotional punch of that dream is my subconscious rerunning that old wound, but this time with a pet, something wholly innocent. So the loss feels purer and simpler than the tangled mess of infidelity, MLC, and betrayal. Dreams often swap in symbols like your dog, so the feelings can come through without your mind shutting them down as old history, but the emotional signature is identical. And when I asked, well, this happened 2 years ago. Why am I dreaming this now? And I've had EMDR, so I wouldn't remotely be thinking about these things. It says 2 years might feel like a long time logically, but your subconscious doesn't run on the same clock that your conscious mind does. It tends to bring up old events when something in your present stirs the same emotional pattern, but not necessarily the same situation. And why this could be resurfacing now, it could be a present day trigger echoing the past, like something in my current life, even if it's small, if I can see it happening but can't stop it. It could be unrelated to relationships. And it could be, it says, early after the event, your brain was in survival mode, just getting through the shock. Well, that's true for sure. And then it says 2 years later, your nervous system might finally be processing the helplessness part in a deeper way. Dreams like this often show up when you're ready to heal a layer that you weren't ready to face before. Well, that's good. And the most important thing is I have my dog. So that's good. Um, let's see. And it says the dream might be your brain stress testing how you'd respond if you faced a similar loss today, but with something else precious. And it says it could be post trauma growth, that your subconscious is making sure you know, hey, this is what loss of control feels like. Now, what would you do? And I thought about that. And what would I do? Well, with the GPS tracker, I knew exactly where my baby was. So I would have hopped in my car and gone and got her. I would have taken her leash and a treat and get her back in my car. And let's see, it says, even if you feel mostly healed, part of you may still not fully trust that something safe and loyal will stay safe. And that's true. I know. And I give it to God. I know that nothing is always going to stay the same or loyal or safe. And then it says the dog and the GPS combination is a perfect metaphor for wanting guarantees in a world where there aren't any. And that is so true. And I accept that. There are no guarantees, but I'll still go to the lengths of having my GPS trackers on as much as I can. Um, so anyway, a few nights later, I was with some friends and we were talking about our dreams. And one mentioned that she had an ex-boyfriend that used to have nightmares where he was being chased and sometimes he'd fight back, but he would scream out loud in his sleep. He'd have nightmares and thrash around and wake up shaken. Something, I think she said he accidentally hit her in the head one time by mistake. But that is how violent his dreams were, how real they felt for him. So I checked into that. So it says for this, my friend's boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, what you're describing in his nightmare sounds like REM sleep disturbances linked to intense stress, unresolved trauma, or inner conflict. In simple terms, being chased being chased part often represents running from something in real life, running from guilt, responsibility, emotions, or a truth he didn't want to face. Fighting back suggests bursts of resistance against whatever was chasing him, maybe a fleeting urge to face reality, but never enough to fully stop it. And the fact that he would thrash, scream, and wake up shaken means his nervous system was physically carrying the stress into his sleep. That's often seen in people who are totally overwhelmed, fearful, or repressing something in waking life. From a psychological perspective, this can happen when there's internal conflict, like part of him wanted to escape. but part of him knew he was doing damage. There's unresolved fear. The chaser in his dreams might have been a stand in for consequences, shame, or memories. And when your brain is constantly on high alert, sleep is not a break. It's just another arena where the battle plays out. And then, let's see, the boyfriend's mom also had frequent nightmares, so much so that she wouldn't sleep in his house or stay with them when they go on vacations. She'd always stay in her own room because she had such serious nightmares. I think they were yeah, nightmares. So apparently that's adds another layer to the emotional DNA of this girl's boyfriend and the way the subconscious might still be processing it. When both the ex-boyfriend and his mom had frequent vocal nightmares, ones that involved screaming, thrashing, and avoiding situations where others might witness them, it points to a family pattern of unresolved psychological distress. Intense nightmares that spill into waking behavior often come from unprocessed trauma, chronic anxiety, or deep emotional repression. If his mom had these patterns for years, it's possible that the former boyfriend grew up seeing sleep as a place where real fears come out, and he may have absorbed her way of avoiding witnesses, whether consciously or not. Choosing isolation, like her at hotels and him withdrawing emotionally or physically, is a classic coping strategy for people who fear their vulnerability of being seen. It's intergenerational trauma. Sometimes the fear or turmoil that causes such nightmares is never openly addressed in the family. It just gets passed down in behaviors, reactions, and emotional habits. Her ex-boyfriend might have been triggered not just by stress, but also by unresolved emotional patterns that he inherited or learned from his mom. His mom's nightmares and avoidance taught him that when inner turmoil surfaces, you hide it or you run. His own nightmares played out that pattern right in front of his girlfriend. Uh, and the girlfriend said, as a child, this young, as a little boy, her boyfriend used to hide in a closet with his mom from an abusive dad that was very controlling and I think alcoholic and abusive. And the family put that abuser on a pedestal publicly, which meant the son, grew up learning that truth and appearances must be kept separate. So putting on a good face for the public, but what goes on behind closed doors is not talked about. So his nightmares, likely his nervous system replaying childhood terror where he was chased or under attack and sometimes tried to fight back, but the danger never truly stopped. Yeah, apparently one subconscious is still processing the helpless witness role even as an adult. It's crazy. So it's important, you guys, if you're having dreams out there, check them out. Find out what the real meaning is behind your dreams. So I want to give some red flags. So if you're out there dating, here's some what we'll call pre-marriage red flags. Family history. Um, when if you're out there dating, check out the family history and patterns. Do they idolize an abusive or neglectful parent or grandparent instead of acknowledging the harm? So if they idolize an abuser, red flag, you guys, run. If they refuse to talk about family conflict or they minimize serious dysfunction, huge red flag, you guys. There's buried trauma. If there's a visible pattern of emotional running in their family, like people cutting off from each other, disappearing, running away from home, silent treatments, red flag. If their family sweeps trauma under the rug or demands loyalty over truth, you guys, we're talking about avoidant personalities. Um, there's always hope for people, but just go in with your eyes wide open. Because that's going to lead to trauma. That obviously those people have trauma, and it's going to lead to trauma disrupting your life in the form of probably midlife crisis. If the family avoids difficult conversations entirely, if they say things like, "Oh, I don't want to talk about it," if that's their default thing, if they if escalate small disagreements into big fights or withdrawing and refusing to engage. If they use silent treatment, sarcasm, or guilt instead of direct honesty. And if they never take responsibility, if they blame you or other people or just say, oh, we have bad luck, what problems? Never taking responsibility, yeah, that's a real problem. Never taking responsibility. If they have frequent angry outbursts or extreme mood swings, if they shut down emotionally for long stretches, if they hold grudges and don't talk through them, if they lash out under stress instead of seeking support. And then check out self awareness and growth. If they don't self reflect or own up to their own mistakes, if they get defensive when given feedback. And that's a big one. And that's an easy one to check out. I use that now if I'm dating and I'm going out with somebody, I'll do something to see how defensive they get, because that is a red flag. So caution, you guys, if you're out here dating Trina Laird, yeah, you'll see that I'm always looking for red flags, man. Sees therapy, counseling, or self-help as weak and not for them, that they're so above that. That's a red flag. If they lack curiosity about their own emotional patterns, red flag. If they numb stress with alcohol, drugs, gambling, shopping, or affairs, check, 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 check. Red flags. If they avoid responsibilities during hard times, yep, red flag. Throw themselves into work, hobbies, or distractions to escape relationship issues. It's one thing to enjoy your work and hobbies, but if you're using that as a distraction to escape your relationships, red flag. If they have no healthy outlets for stress besides avoidance, not a great situation. If they have a trail of unresolved breakups where every ex was crazy or the problem, really? Look at the source. That's a red flag. Overlapping relationships, either emotional or physical, before official breakups, huge red flag. Actually, my ex did that. We were still married and very intimately married while he was having an emotional affair. And that totally, overlapping relationship, red flag. Moves quickly from one serious relationship to the next without time alone. Yeah, anybody who can't be alone on their own, that's a red flag. Can't explain why past relationships ended beyond blaming the other person. Yeah, you guys, red flag. Are you getting the idea here? So seriously, have your checklist. Um, if they don't follow through on promises or commitments, if they make jokes at your expense that hurt your feelings and cut deep, that is totally, I think that might be coercive control, but that's definitely emotional abuse. Control and boundaries. If they want to monitor your whereabouts, if they want to monitor your friendships or your money, if they've got a GPS tracker on you, um, you know, check that out. That's one thing to want to be concerned about somebody's safety, but to track their every move, it's just crazy. If they get jealous easily or accuse you without cause, red flag. Definitely with the jealousy. If they resist that you having independence or personal space, if they push your boundaries even after you've said no, um, if they lie about small things to avoid conflict or look better, that's a red flag. If they omit key facts about their life, finances, or past, if they tell conflicting versions of the same story, that's sort of weird, right? If they break agreements and minimize the impact, and you know what? If you have a gut feeling, if you sense that you're walking on eggshells around them, that is a huge red flag. If you have unexplained anxiety before big life steps together, listen to your gut instincts. That's a huge red flag. If your friends or family express concern about the relationship, listen to them and seriously consider what their point of view and what they're saying. If your instincts say something's off, but you keep rationing it away, seriously take the time to address it. The biggest red flag isn't just the behavior itself, it's their reaction when you bring it up. And that's really fun, you guys. If they minimize, if they deny, get defensive, or flip it back on you instead of listening and reflecting, you are looking at a high risk foundation for your marriage. And then finally, we have another dream that one of the moms mentioned. Her 22-year-old daughter has had repeating dreams where her dad, who's in MLC and suddenly abandoned their family, hooked up with a woman um, that he didn't know and anyway, in her dream, they come in the house and try to kill them. They try to kill the mom and the daughter, apparently, or the dogs. And so we're trying to interpret that dream. That was really sad to hear adult children are having dreams to this uh, for the MLC breakdown. It's horrendous to me. Um, when somebody is suddenly abandoned in midlife crisis, the whole family's subconscious gets activated, and dreams often become a way to process that trauma. Um, they say um, dreams are like emotional snapshots. And what their daughter's subconscious was saying is what dad did was so destructive, it felt like life and death. So, here we'll talk about how kids, young or adult, process midlife crisis through their dreams and why children dream what they can't say. Dreams are the mind's way of releasing emotions that are too big to process in waking life. Betrayal trauma, especially by a parent, registers in the nervous system as danger. When kids see one parent abandon the family, their subconscious turns the emotional devastation into physical threat imagery, home invasions, murders, car crashes, fires. So her dream of her dad and the AP killing the family, that was the emotional reality of abandonment being as destructive as death. Young kids commonly see monsters chasing them, parents disappearing, forgetting them, or refusing to come home. Teens often see a house burning down, a parent with a new partner attacking them. And that's exactly what this 22-year-old girl saw. The parent and the partner were attacking her and losing pets or siblings. Again, that's what the 22-year-old saw. Adult children, I guess, that are older tend to dream with violence, such as murder and break ins. They dream of being trapped, helpless, or silenced. They dream that the parent chooses the affair partner over them. And these dreams aren't about literal violence, they're just metaphors for how destabilizing parental abandonment feels. And that's, you know what, guys? I have heard so many times from you that, um, oh, my spouse thought now that the kids are 16, they don't need us anymore. It won't be such a emotional blow to them. Or they're in college. They live away from home and they're in college. This is not a big deal. Oh, they're 30 years old, not a big deal. Well, you know what? Apparently it is a big deal because it is still their core family. Um, and it's coming out. Their fears and emotional distress is coming out in these dreams when they're sleeping at night. It really matters. And what these dreams mean, the house symbolizes family and identity. Dogs and pets symbolize unconditional love and innocence. Death threats and attacks are the symbol of betrayal trauma and the destruction of safety. And repetition is unresolved grief and ongoing processing. So when this girl's dad left, her subconscious was saying, the family isn't safe anymore. Even love and loyalty are at risk. Even adult children, 20s, 30s, 40s, feel destabilized when a parent in MLC abandons the family. Nightmares and repeating dreams are a way of trying to make sense of the senseless. This is not weakness, it's the mind's attempt at healing. And how can we support our kids? Well, we can validate them. Tell them the dream is a normal subconscious response, not a sign of literal danger. Name the feeling: anger, fear, helplessness. It's all valid. Rebuild their safety. Do rituals. Create stability. Reaffirm bonds. And encourage expression through journaling, art, talking it out. Normalize their rage. They're not too angry. They are expressing their truth. When your child, whether 6 or 26, dreams of being attacked, killed, or abandoned, please know this. It's not about violence. It's about betrayal. Their subconscious is screaming the truth. And that is, what happened was destructive. The best gift you can give them is validation, safety, and the reminder that they didn't imagine it, they actually lived it. And together, you can heal it. Instead of "don't worry, we're safe," say, honey, I understand why you're scared. What happened was totally traumatic, but we've taken steps now to protect ourselves, and you're not alone in this. Walk her through all the protections you do have at the house: gates, security, locks, alarm system. Show her the system or cameras if you have them. Seeing tangible safeguards can calm the nervous system. And if your child's fear is interfering with their daily life, trauma-informed therapy like EMDR or somatic experiencing can help release the stuck sense of danger that they're having. The key is to balance honesty and comfort. You can't promise that nothing bad will ever happen, but you can reinforce that you have taken responsible steps. She is not alone, and she has the right to feel what she feels. Um, Remind your kids they are not crazy for being scared. What your mom or dad did shook the ground beneath us, but we've put strong protections in place and we are safe here. The fear you feel is your body remembering that initial shock. It's not a sign that danger is here. So thanks for joining me today on Bomb Drop, you guys. So remember, interpret your dreams, see where it's leading, and really reach out to your kids and make sure they're okay and they feel safe. And always talk about their dreams, talk about their fears. Don't let anything get brushed under the carpet. The last thing we want is to continue generational trauma, generational avoidance relationships. So it's in your hands. You can be awesome. I know you've got it in you. Rise up and keep all lines of communication open. See you on the next episode. Thanks for joining me today. You guys, forward moving spouses, you are not alone. Left behind spouses, you are not alone. Those in crisis, you are certainly not alone. This is just crazy how epidemic this has become. I have a waiting list now of people from around the world that I'm trying to get to. And if you've been through a midlife crisis or been impacted by someone else's and you want to share your story, I'd love to hear from you. Hang in there, you guys. I will get to all of you. Please reach out to me at mlcbombdrop@gmail.com and visit us on Facebook and Instagram, MLC Bombdrop. And just remember, your voice matters. Your story could be the one that helps someone else feel seen. It could help someone else feel heard. And it will help somebody else feel understood. You are not alone, no matter where you are in your journey. If the bomb was just dropped, the earthquake just happened, if you are 7 or 8 years in and you're coming out of starting to wake up and awaken to this, you are not alone. It's sad that this is epidemic, but we're here to provide support. So until next time, take care and live authentically each and every day. Thanks again, you guys.